Monday night. Glad you can join us here on 91.7 WPRL and WPRL.org, the All-Core Football Radio Network, 97.7 WTYJ, 1240 AM, WMIS. Fayette Natchez, they've been broadcasting from the Southwest Mississippi area for over 100 years, and the Open Mic Broadcast Network, OBNNetwork.com, 89.7 at Prairie View, Texas. Glad you can join us one and all here on this Monday night as the Braves coming off a huge win, a big win on homecoming over Savannah State. And, of course, this wraps up this deal. We can put a capper on that for another year, put it in the vault, and we'll pull it out this time next year, of course. Braves got it done on homecoming, and it was not easy. But the second half, and we talked about the second half of games. The Braves, heck of a job in the second half, outscoring Savannah State 14-0. So, Braves head football coach Fred McNair joining me. Coach, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. It was great homecoming. Good that the players and the seniors, guys that beat our last homecoming, Charles, got a chance to go out with a win for the last homecoming, Charles. And it's just great to see some of the old people that come back and the old players, and got a chance to see Milton Slick Barney at the game, Charles, and probably one of the best receivers that probably ever come through Alcorn. He was at the game, got a chance to see him, and just seeing some old faces and enjoying the festivity all that through the ball game, Charles. It was great to see, man. It was a great atmosphere. Alcorn really showed up, Charles, for this game for homecoming. We appreciate those fans that come out and being very supportive of this football program, Charles. And can't say enough about the Braves fan and the alumni and the people that come back for this game, Charles. It was a great atmosphere.
As always, it's a great atmosphere for homecoming. It was a little chilly, but once it warmed up, it turned out to be a pretty good day.
Great football weather, Charles. It's my kind of weather, getting down to the we didn't have enough of that sun, I guess, and the heat. So getting down to this cool weather, Charles, this is a blessing to have that to come in and kind of cool things off a little bit. So hopefully we'll get back together and get back to work tomorrow. Did a little work this morning, Charles. Got out and got the guys loose again a little bit this morning, practice this morning. So we're back to work on Monday.
All the years we've been doing this, I don't think I've asked you, are you a hot weather guy or are you a cold weather guy?
I can't stand the heat, Charles. You can't take enough clothes off, Charles. So I'd rather for it to be cold than to be hot, Charles. That heat just get to me, but it's the nature of it. As coaches, we have to fight it. So we've been blessed to have this good weather up until this point. Kind of rain outside now, but it's been good for us so far.
Yeah, be careful out there. 2 to 4 inches of rain expected over the next couple of days. Got a rainy period, a little cool down, a little warm up. So it's kind of in that period in which it's going to be a little warm. It's going to be chilly as cold fronts push through, bring some rain with it. So a couple of days of rain and a couple of inches of rain are expected around here. All right, talking about Savannah State, Coach, you hit the nail on the head. It wasn't easy. I mean, we had to pull away in the second half, but it was a tussle for the first 30 minutes of the game.
Charles, just talking with the coaches all last week, and we know it was going to be a tough ball game because they was in the MEAC before they dropped down to Division II, but they had some good athletes. The offensive line was very impressive. The way they moved the pile and defensively, they got some guys to get after you. So they did a great job. Coach Quinn doing a great job over there, over their program at Savannah State. So we knew going into that game we had to play our A-game, Charles, and I thought that we responded well a little bit in the first half and came back in the second half and kind of put it away there, Charles. So I'm very excited, very, very proud of the young men that played in that game, Charles. I can't say enough about those young men and the effort they put into that game.
All right, so let's look at it. The Braves won the toss and elected to receive. So talk about that. I know each week is kind of a different dynamic. You want to defend, you want to receive. Talk about wanting to get the football after winning the coin toss.
Just being able to get out there and get a fast start on offense, I think that's what we aim to do sometimes, Charles. I know the defense does a great job when they go out there. So offensively, sometimes when we get the ball after the defense has been out there, we kind of slow getting started. So coming out of the locker room, we want the ball, Charles, and that's what we did. We received the ball and put it in the box, Charles. So it was great.
Put it in the box, put it in the end zone. A 75-yard drive to start. Pringle, a 14-yard reception from Felix Harper. We had a 2nd and 4. We had a 2nd and 9. So we were kind of, even with the chains a little bit, 3rd and 9. Pringle for the 14-yard touchdown reception. And just talk about that play and getting it back in the end zone.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing, Charles. You know, they're doing a great job of getting open, and Felix doing an excellent job of finding the open guy. Going through his progression, his reads, and the way he's taught, and just commend Pat White on that, and the way he's coaching that young man to do his job, you know, and that's what we strive for all the young men to do, is just do their job, and everything else, do the little things, the big things show up.
You know, in this situation, I think it was that first drive that there was an interception. Harper threw a pick, but it was denied by the fact that Savannah State was holding, and we caught a break there.
Yeah, right there, and then Felix knew right when he let that ball go that he made a mistake on that one. Closed middle, the ball can't go there, so, you know, I talked to him about that when he came to the sideline before they decided it was pass holding on that play, so he understands that.
So it was 7-0. The Braves with the lead early, 75-yard drive in 6 plays. And then the Braves added to it a couple of drives later. It started at their 15-yard line with 8.5 minutes left. We had a 2nd and 9, a 3rd and 6, a 2nd and 13, and a 3rd down and 13 as Felix Harper hit Blair on a blitz, 71 yards, Coach. Talk a little bit about that, because they were coming and Felix put it up and Blair ran under it.
Well, that was a perfect route for that defense. They came with the pressure, and I just said to myself right then, I told the coaches on the headsets that the post, just throw the post route, which would turn into a go ball. I think they did a great job of adjusting it on the fly, and Felix just let it up there and let Blair run up on it. So a great job by both of those guys of being able to communicate without talking.
Talk a little bit about how Felix Harper has handled the blitz when it's come his way.
Well, during the course of the week, Charles, that's something that Coach Elliott does with those offensive guys, especially with the line, with the fronts and the stunts and things of that nature. Is just have a blitz period. We know where it's coming from. We know when it's going to come. So with their eyes and what they do, you know, so they kind of picked it up and gave Felix enough time to get it downfield. He took a lick on that play too, Charles. So, but just standing there and just being poised and delivering the ball the way he should, that says a lot about how confident the young man is.
So it was 14-0 at that point, but then Savannah State got a field goal. They started at their 13-yard line, and they got to the Braves' 9-yard line, and Lugo's 26-yard field goal made it 14-3. So talk about that drive for Savannah State, as they went 8 plays and 78 yards.
Yeah, it's tough, Charles. You know, they did a great job. They were getting a lot of push up front in that first quarter, and I talked to the D-line coach, and Coach Frencher, you know, said first quarter, they just didn't fill it out, and they didn't fit it up the way it should have been. So we made some mistakes up front, and hopefully come back in the second half, we corrected those mistakes.
When you talk about fit it up, what does that mean in layman's terms?
Yeah, just gaps and alignments, the way they fit the gaps, and just really just controlling the line of scrimmage. And we didn't do such a good job of that in the first quarter.
So it was 14-3 at the end of the first quarter. We're going to go to the phone lines here at 11 minutes after 6 o'clock. Marquise joining us here on this Monday night. Good evening, Marquise. Doing pretty good.
What's up, Marquise?
Hold up, Marquise. I'll tell you what, can you call back? We got a little static on the line. Jamario, hang him up and let him call back. So that'll take us to a break here, as we have some static in the line there. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. Call back, Marquise, and we'll get you on. We'll take a time out here, and we'll be back after this. 12 minutes after 6 o'clock here. We got some texts and tweets. We'll get to those coming up, and we'll look ahead. There's big games in the conference. It's a big game in the league on Saturday at Southern University. I got to eat some crow, Coach McNair. I thought Prairie View's offense, and they scored a bunch, but the Jaguars got it done. My little predictions, I thought maybe Prairie View would get them, but Southern didn't. So this week I got to eat a whole bunch of crow on certain talk shows this week. And hey, if you got to if you can dish it out, you got to take it. So I got to eat that this week. So we'll take a break here. We'll look at the second quarter coming up after this 1 minute timeout here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. 14 minutes after 6 o'clock. And the Fred McNair Radio Show is brought to you in part by C Spire. We look at the second quarter. The Braves led 14-3 and added to their advantage, starting with a drive at the 12:07 mark of the second quarter. The Braves really doing a nice job in getting the ball down the field, starting at Savannah State's 47-yard line. Pringle, 39-yard touchdown. And really, it was a game of big plays. Blair with a big touchdown. Pringle with a 39-yard touchdown. So this game, like many in this streak, it's been a game of big plays, and this was yet another.
And that's always good, Charles. When we talk about offense, we talk about having explosive plays. You know, we I think we ended up having like 12 explosive plays that ball game, Charles. With plays over 10 yards or more. You know, so anytime you can have explosive plays, I mean 12 explosive plays, that's a lot, especially when you don't run for 56 plays during the course of that game. So we did an excellent job of having explosive plays that game, Charles. It was big plays that were made.
And that made it 21-3. And then Savannah State came right back with 10:46 left in the second quarter, and they were able to get a touchdown as they went 9 plays and 65 yards. Cameron White, a 15-yard touchdown. But then we had some penalties in there, face mask, and obviously probably one of the big storylines, even though we won the game, you're talking about the penalties. We had a bunch of those, I think, on another drive. When they got the field goal, there was a penalty, and Solomon Muhammad was called for a face mask. So the penalties kind of aided Savannah State a little bit as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we always try to stress to the young men. And during the course of the team meeting this morning, that's something I put out there on them. You know, I asked them what was 9 for 110, and everybody they knew it was for the penalties. And you know, something that we stress out every week, just talking to the coaches and get them to understand that these things can happen, especially the 15 yarders. Kind of eliminate those big penalties. I think that what most hurt us in that drive when they scored a touchdown.
And then they were able to get another touchdown as we got the ball at our 9-yard line. Felix Harper sacked, fumbled, and recovered at the 9-yard line, and they were able to score from there. So you talk about turnovers, Coach, and that. So just talk about that play as there was, pocket kind of collapsing around Harper there.
Yeah, I think his eyes kind of fooled him on that one, Charles. He was going out of there flat, but the corner squatted, and he was trying to pull it back and make a throw to another receiver and lost control of it. So ill-advised farmer for him, and he's the first to admit that he made that mistake. So understand that it can happen in that area. It really can happen, period. So just understand the position that he's in and the place where he's at in those turnovers.
And that was recovered in the end zone by Cam Brown. So it was 21-17, Coach, just like that. 5 1/4 left till halftime, a 21-17 game, Coach. And I think that obviously, Savannah State got our attention there, I think.
They did, and I told you, like I said, they're a good ball club, Charles. They got some good athletes, man, and I think that their staff did a great job of designing the plays to score. So we just fell short on some of the things that we're supposed to do correctly, and stop them from scoring.
We were able to get a touchdown back as Felix Harper hit Chris Blair, a drive that was 3 plays, 13 yards, but it started with an interception by Bruce. Just talk about Bruce's development and the job that he's done in the secondary.
Bruce is coming of age, Charles. I always call him old man and all that. Bruce is coming of age. He's playing good football for us at the corner spot, and hopefully I thought he was going to take it in the score right there, Charles, but he got a tackle out of bounds. So we was able to come back and put a drive together and finish it up with a touchdown right there.
28-17 at that point. So a couple of games, maybe third game in a row. The third game in a row, we were able to get some late points. Remember the Prairie View game? They had the momentum. They turned it over on special teams. We got late points. You want to finish a game strong. You want to finish a half strong. And the last 2 or 3 games, we have done that with some late points.
And that's the way you do it. That's most coaches call it a 2-minute drill, and we run it sometime without even having any conscious of it, Charles. So we know we kind of get the ball downfield. I think Coach Ratton does a great job of putting those young men in a position to make plays and scoring before halftime.
So speaking of halftime, what was your speech at halftime? Looked like we had control of it. Then it was 21-17, 28-17 going into the locker room. What was your speech?
Basically, the biggest thing, Charlie, I just told them we just played the worst half of football. We played the worst half of football that we could ever play, with the penalties and things of that nature, false starts, and we didn't play a good half in my eyes. But the biggest thing was we needed to just go and finish this product that we got, and I think the guys kind of clinged to that and went out on the field the second half and played a whole lot better second half.
All right, 20 minutes after 6 o'clock, you can give us a call, 601-877-6595. Of course, the Braves have a bye week coming up this week. There's only a handful of games in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We'll look at the standings. Of course, Felix Harper with a bunch of awards, including a recognition from ESPN. We'll hear from Andrew Roberts, the Media Relations Director of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. He'll talk a little bit about that coming up. But at 20 minutes after 6 o'clock, we'll take a timeout right here. We'll look at the third quarter numbers coming up here after this 1 minute timeout. The time is 22 minutes after 6 o'clock on this Monday night. Glad you can join us. Fresh off a big homecoming win, great crowd, great atmosphere, great food, great entertainment, great energy, great week. You can add a bunch more greats to that. Last week was something special as always for homecoming. We'll take a timeout. We'll be right back after this. Club. If not, you should ask your parents to sign you up next year. The Kids Club is designed to give youngsters ages 7 through 12 a unique opportunity to be a part of the team and excitement of Alcorn State University athletics. Thanks to our sponsors, this year's Braves Kids Club is 50 strong. For more information on how your child can join the Braves Kids Club next year, please call Larry Smith at 601-877-2470, or you can send them an email, lsmith@alcorn.edu. All right, Fred McNair, you talk about starting fast in the second half. I hear some coaches say when you're rolling and you want to start fast in the third quarter, just don't go in the locker room. You wish you could do that, but what's been the key to starting fast in the third quarter? You change anything up with your play calling, just trying to get that energy early in the third?
No, especially when you got a team like Savannah State Charge, you really want to come out and when you get the ball back and score. And I think that what we didn't change too much, Charge. We came back and made a few adjustments for the second half, and I think that's one thing that we do a great job of doing during the course of halftime is coming out and making those adjustments. And I think that what we saw in the first half and knowing what we can do in the second half, we came back out and did those things in the second half and was able to make a big play right there when we first got the ball back.
Yeah, we did. We were able to make it 35-17. Felix Harper to Juan Anthony, 84 yards. That made it 35-17. You talk about Savannah State's quarterback Gibbons. Just talk about the challenges that you had when you saw him on film. And at times, he was pretty elusive in running that zone read. He was able to find some keys, find some gaps, find some spaces.
Yeah, I think I said, Charles, I talked to the coaching staff, this morning, talked with Coach Thornton on Sunday, and, just missing a lot of tackles, Charles. We missed a bunch of tackles, and, we can't allow that to happen. He was kind of slippery, but he wasn't that slippery. We just missed a lot of tackles, Charles, and that's something we worked on this morning. Coach Thornton had the guys doing tackling drills. Back to the basic, we got a week to get back to the basic stuff, fundamental stuff that we need to do, and that's one thing that I think this coaching staff is trying to get back to now and get back to the fundamental things of the work, what we need.
I think this may be the first time this year you've talked about missed tackles all season, I think, and it's obviously you want to keep working on those things and just try to shore that up as you get into the grind of the SWAC.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Charles. You want to be able to make tackle for loss, which we had a lot of them and we just missed them, and you want to be able to do that during the course of a ball game and put them behind the chains as well. But these guys are going to step up to the plate and they're going to bounce back from that, and I think that they're going to do a good job of tackling next week. We play Southern in 2 weeks.
And then we added another touchdown as Trey Turner's 3-yard run made it 42-17 with 39 seconds left in the third on scoring in the fourth. Just talk a little bit about just trying to finish it up. Obviously, you look at the changes that you made at quarterback, Trey Turner. Just talk a little bit about that, getting the 2s and 3s in the fourth quarter.
Just basically work, Charles, and we try to give those guys breaks during the course of the game. With the running back situation, you got Waller, Nico was out. You had Turner, which played. He was a big part of what we do, and that's really what he is. He's a big back he's gonna fall forward. And Bolton did a great job of running the ball when he got in there. He had one explosive play. So, those guys makes a difference when you can rotate them in and out, Charles, and still do great things with those guys in that sitting from that backfield.
And talk a little bit about Marsh. Second game in a row, Alabama State and Savannah State. Marsh, kind of the pitcher that's going to close the game out, and he was able to do that against Bama State. Only had 4 carries on Saturday, but just trying to close the door and seal it.
Yeah, which we played 4 backs this week, Charles. We had Waller, Turner, and Bolton. Morris came in and was a closer for us, just try to get those guys some reps, and I think Coach Booth does a great job of alternating those guys in plays, and letting them get a chance to feel it, because you never know when you're going to need those guys, Charles. We talk about it. Something happened, next man up, so they got to be ready to play, and the best experience you get is the playing experience, so I think we do a great job of alternating those guys in and out.
Oh, you talked about Nico Duffy. He was at practice Thursday. Didn't practice. He didn't play on Saturday. What is his status now?
Well, it's a good chance for him right now, Charles, to really get into grinding and getting himself back right. I talked to the trainer today, so his progression is really looking good right now, Charles. So we're looking forward to having him back for the Southern game. So just continue to rehab and get his range of motion back and have everything ready for him against Southern.
I look at the offensive line. Mustafa Ibrahim, our center, didn't see him out there on Saturday that much. Talk about that.
Yeah, he played a little bit, and Mustafa, he's been doing some good things, but I think Joy right now has stepped up and doing the things he do, and see him a day and each day in practice. And Coach Ratton tried to give him this equal amount of reps in the practice, just to see his one go out work the other one. And sometimes, that's where it is, and Joy has been doing a great job of stepping up, so Mustafa's still doing some great things, and just more mental stuff with Mustafa. And I think that preparation with him is coming along very well, getting them back to where he needs to be.
Speaking of the offensive line, of course, we ran for 164 yards. Felix Harper, 324 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns. He was sacked twice. Assess the offensive line play on Saturday.
Yeah, a couple of them was swift, Charles. We just missed them. I think Joy missed one and kind of got away from him a little bit. And they've been playing pretty good, Charles. I'm not going to say he's been playing great, but they can be a whole lot better, because I know those guys can play a whole lot better when they're playing. And so we'll get it out of them. I think Elliott's doing a great job at the offensive line, rotating those guys in and out, giving them some rest. And we played 10 guys this Saturday. So anytime you play 10 offensive linemen, Charles, you're doing really good. What you're doing with that offense.
And in that vein, every time you talk about the number of offensive linemen that we play, I go back a few years to the Arkansas game where we only had 5 linemen and they played every snap. I go back to that, just how you go from one end of the spectrum to the other. You play 10, and at one point, one game against a SEC school, we only played 5. So that just shows you how you want to stay steady there.
Oh, yeah, you have to keep those linemen ready to roll, Charles, and I think Elliott does an excellent job in the course of practice getting those guys ready to play.
All right, we're going to take this time out. We'll be right back after this, halfway through the Fred McNair Radio Show. We'll be back in 1 minute. All right, welcome back to the Fred McNair Radio Show on this Monday night. 34 minutes after the Braves are off this week and the Jaguars come to town. It's kind of looking at that a little bit a little earlier, Coach, and kind of a back-and-forth game. I knew it would be a high-scoring game. Their quarterback, Jalen Morton, over 100 yards rushing at the quarterback position. But they held Yawanya Tucker to just 50 or 53 yards rushing, so that was huge. Prairie View missed a field goal in the first half. That kind of changed momentum. So the Jaguars kind of getting themselves ready, but they've got a game against Texas Southern in Dallas coming up this weekend. So we'll be taking a look at that. We'll be talking about the Jaguars in a huge game coming up as the Braves take on Southern University next Saturday at 2 o'clock. Coach, you talked about Nico Duffy and injuries. As we go to the Twitter feed, Edgar Grayer tweets, what's the status of Chris Hart?
Chris Hart, he worked today, and he should be back ready to play for Southern. He worked very hard this morning during the course of practice, doing all the drills, so hopefully we'll have him back ready to play, just according to Jaleesa. He's doing good, what he's supposed to be doing with his rehab, so he worked hard this morning, worked out the individual drills, and hopefully we'll have him back during the course of Southern week.
When people ask you about injuries, you always, of course, you defer to the trainer and the medical staff. You get the updates, you get the information, you get the data, just because those folks obviously know the status of these players and whether they can go or not.
Yeah, they know more than I know, Charles, and I just go by what she tells me, and I think I can trust her in making the right decision for this ball team, for this program, and the direction that we're going. And we was talking this morning, me and her was talking this morning during the course of practice, and said, Coach, the biggest thing is we finally getting everybody back, and so my eyes lit up then when she said getting everybody back. So I was very, very proud to hear her say that, and those words come out of her mouth, and it means a lot because she's going to tell me first, and I trust her judgment and the thing that she's doing. She's been doing a great job of getting the young man back to the playing surface when we need them, Charles.
Yeah, I saw her dealing with a player, getting them ready, and I tell you what, it's never an easy task or an easy job, and we haven't talked about it that much. We've been nicked up and banged up. You haven't talked about it that much. You see guys that aren't dressed, but we've been nicked up and banged up here as we go through the midway part of the season.
Charles, that's been us for the last few years, Charles, and that's the testament to this coaching staff of being able to get other guys ready to play when that happens. So, it's way before those guys get hurt to be these coaches working on other guys and getting them prepared to play. So it's a daily basic thing, and it's in our daily bread, Charles, that we go out and make sure that the next guy up is ready to play when it's time, because all the players are just one play away, Charles, and from going down or having an injury or something of that nature. But we as coaches, we have to make sure that the next guy in line is ready to play. So it's a testament to those guys who are doing a great job of making sure that the next player is ready to play. So those guys do a great job of communicating and getting things done the right way. And of course, I can't say enough about what Jaleesa's doing for this program. She's doing an outstanding job, and maybe she need to come on the show one night and tell you about all these injuries. I see after I go out on the field with her, when a player go down and she's maneuvering, and my job is just to keep them calm. I used to tell them, be quiet, and let her talk. Tell her what's going on. But as far as I go, I can't diagnose the problem, but she does a great job, man, and she'd be commended for that and the work that she do for this athletic program.
Talk about his status.
Yeah, she's just a little soreness this morning, and that's about it. And I think he should be okay with the right amount of rehab through the course of the next few days. But he's coming along very well, and I was just glad to hear her say that. Just a strain in his knee, but hopefully, a few days away, and her treatment and her magic wand are getting back to the playing surface for Southern.
So basically, this bye week came just at the right time.
Oh yeah, most definitely, Charles. You're talking about something that was very fortunate for us to have a bye week before the Southern game, and also now on the other flip side, they play on a game before they play us, so it kind of helps us out a whole lot, and get a chance to see them, watch film on them today. They're gonna be pretty nifty, Charles. They got some stuff going on their defense now, so we got to be prepared and give us time to get ready and iron all the kinks out and get everybody back healthy and back to the playing surface.
All right, so let's go inside the numbers here as the Braves with a big win on homecoming. Felix Harper, 16 of 21, 324 yards and 5 touchdowns, well over 1,000 yards passing. We'll hear from Andrew Roberts, the media relations director of the SWAC Conference. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up here in a bit. You look at the Braves running game, Coach, 164 yards led by Waller. 10 yards short of 100. He had 90 yards, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. And Fred McNair, we averaged 4.7 yards per carry on the afternoon. Some pretty good stuff there.
Yeah, it is, Charles, and I think Waller's getting back to his old self now. So it's good to see him run hard this past week, Charles, and doing a great job. And he's a hard-working young man. He's going to make sure he tries to do everything the right way.
So Trey Turner, 5 carries for 35 yards. Felix Harper, 6 for 17. Bolton, 4 for 12. And Marsh, we talked about him, 4 carries for 10 yards. Throwing the football, of course, Felix Harper, 324 through the air. You had 2 receivers with over 100 yards. Juan Anthony, 7 for 140. Had been banged up a little bit, Coach, and the second good game in a row for him. 7 receptions, 140 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think that could have been a lot more yards for Juan. If he did one little thing right, Charles, it could have been right about 200 if he do the things right. But he's a great guy, a great player for us, and does a great job, got good hands, great hands, Charles. And, just the matter of him just working, and these guys work hard in practice. I think Coach Phillips does a great job with those receivers in practice, in the course of the practice, to get them to do what they do in the game.
So the obvious question, what's the one thing, you said if he does one little thing, what's that one little thing?
Just running with his eyes instead of his feet.
One little thing.
Yeah.
Chris Blair, 3 for 108 and 2 touchdowns. Pringle, 2 receptions, 53 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Akeem McNair, 4 for 23. It shows you when you're having a pretty efficient game when your punter only runs out there twice. 2 punts for McCullough, averaging 33 yards per punt. Just talk about his punting and place kicking at this point.
Right now, I think he's on top of his game right now, Charles. And he's done a great job of ball placement, not giving guys a chance to return kicks and punch. Ball's place has been great for the last few weeks, Charles, and doing a great job with that. And the kickoff team is doing a great job of going down, staying in their lanes and covering the kick. So he's doing a great job for us right now.
And if we're going to need that kickoff coverage, because Southern University, was watching a little bit of the game today, and Southern University really helped themselves on some pretty good kickoff returns. So that's something we'll be definitely talking about as well. On our kickoff coverage, Juan Anthony, 1 punt return, Morrison 2 for 44, and that ramps up on the special teams side of things. Defensively, Coach, leading the way is Kinsler with 10 tackles, and we talked about Juwan Taylor. We talked to him on the pregame show. Talk about Kinsler, 10 tackles and 1 tackle for a loss Saturday.
Those guys, that group of guys right there, they get out there pretty hard. I think Coach French does a great job in the trench with those guys, with Darren Henderson and Theron Bond, to get them to work the way they're supposed to work. And in that safety position, you got Kinsler. He's a hitter. He's a hitter, Charles, and he loves to hit. And Cash is doing a great job with those guys on the back end. And Juwan Anthony plays a little nickel for us, and doing a great job. He's also a striker too, Charles, and he don't mind laying that wood. And Ontario Cole also doing a great job. Those guys are very good players back in that back end, Charles, and they help their case out a lot when they're playing fast. And Coach Thornton doing a great job of putting those guys with that defense in position to make plays and to develop them the right way. I think they're doing some great stuff on that side of the ball, and just watching them practice sometime during contained swarm is something special when you see those guys flying around to the ball.
Speaking of flying around, you talked about Juwan Taylor, 9 tackles, Cole with 9 tackles, Corian Wren with 8, Earl Henderson with 8, Webb with 7, followed by Solomon Muhammad with 6 tackles, K.W. Jones with 4, Key, Anderson, and Monroe with 3 tackles, England Burks with 2, Wilson with 2, Holbert with 2, and then rounding out the tackles, Allen Bruce with 1, and of course you talked about the interception that he had, Aaron with 1, and Morrison with 1, and Bonds with 1. We had a couple of picks in the game, Coach. Burks again coming up with a pick. Second game in a row he's had one.
Yeah, Burks does a great job of getting that deflection there, Charles, and just eyes on the ball. And it's a drill that they teach every day in practice, the tip drill. And so just finding it in there and doing a great job of gathering it up, Charles. That's a great job by that defense, man. They playing lights out, and we still got some stuff we got to work on. Like I said, with the offense, executing more than what we should be, and the defense just playing a little bit more faster, and then just the tackling part, that was just the biggest part that we saw on film that we need to get better at.
44 minutes after 6 o'clock, we'll get to the text and tweets. Coming up after this timeout, we'll have the SWAC report, and we'll look ahead to the bye week. So we'll get to all that coming up after this 1-minute timeout here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. On this Monday night, let's go to the phones. Gwen is joining us. Good evening, Gwen. How you doing? Doing pretty good. All right, Gwen, thank you very much for the call. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Gwen.
All right, let's go to the text line, 601-348-7254. You can text a question anytime, 24/7, 365, as they say. You can text us a question with head coach Fred McNair. LJ from Columbia. Will there be any added motivation for you, coach, in preparing your team for this game, considering the events? Of course, honoring Steve, the 25th anniversary of breaking the record. I know a win in itself would be great, but I know if we can get this one, it would have to be pretty sweet for you. What are your thoughts on that? It's a good question.
It would be. That's a great question, Charles. And just that moment that we're gonna share during that time of to celebrate Steve and the retirement of his jersey and things of that nature. And just to top it off, Charles, and this is the team that he broke the NC2A record with and against Southern, and so it's a great venue for this event, Charles. And what better way to finish it up with a victory in 2 weeks?
Yep, and I just think about those times. I mean, the big gala coming up next Thursday, and then of course his jersey's going to be retired. People just talk about what it was like on this campus 25 years ago. It was unbelievable, just the media attention that we got. And I'm sure where the Sports Illustrated, ESPN, ABC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, major market newspapers were here. Every day it was a who's who of the sports media that was here on this campus, especially these last couple of years, the whole Heisman thing, hand him the Heisman, all of that. What was that like for you and from where you were?
Just to be around it and seeing the young man and grow as an individual, Charles, and especially here at Alcorn State University, and the way he carried himself as a professional and things of that nature, Charles. He did a great job of handling the exposure that was presented to him and this university, man. It was great. I never seen so many cameras and things until I came back to watch him play here, Charles, and it was great. Some good stuff that happened during the course of the time for him, and being able to run for the Heisman and finish third in the Heisman and getting drafted third pick overall in the draft, and great exposure to this university, Charles. I thought that it was great for this university, and I think that over the course of this past since camp, we have had right at 14 NFL teams to come in to our practice, Charles, and I thought that's great things to see these young men and light their eyes up, and just knowing that these scouts are still coming back to this university to try to find a football player, and I think they're here for a reason, to see a great individual effort in some of these young men to get them to the next level. And I always wanted to talk about the young men that we got here today, Charles, to these scouts, and get them to understand what kind of character they have, what kind of player they are, the question that the scouts ask, and it just overwhelms me when they ask a question. My eyes light up when they ask about a player here now, Charles. So it's great, Charles. It's great exposure that the NFL is still coming back to Alcorn, and in spite of the legacy that Steve left behind to this university, man. It's just a beautiful thing.
I want to come back to the whole pro football thing. The XFL is about to crank up, and they had their draft. I saw something on Twitter the other day You know, you've got these different rounds and different types of drafts, and just talk about that aspect of it. Of course, you had the Alliance of American Football. There was a lot of hope that that would be another avenue besides the NFL or Arena League or playing overseas or playing in the CFL. That folded. Now you have Vince McMahon in the XFL that's going to be cranking up here. Just talk about that aspect of if you're a good player, somebody's going to find you on the pro level.
That's exactly right, Charles, and I'm a firm believer of that, Charles. And I got to go back and take Steve for an example. You know, just playing here at Alcorn, and people didn't think that you can go anywhere from Alcorn, but you know, and it shows. You know, like I told him when he was being recruited on the collegiate level when he was in high school, I said, you can go and be a live fish in a big pond, which is the Power 5 schools, or you can come and be a big fish in a little pond, which is the Alcorn State University, which is the Division I AA school. And people gonna see you. They're gonna find you. If you're a good athlete, Charles, I promise you, they will come and see you. They will find you. And they just go back to what the NFL scouts are coming back now. They see somebody, Charles, that they're watching. They won't be coming for nothing. So, and we have identified some guys that they're watching, and they still coming. You know, we had over half of the NFL teams here on campus during the course of this season. So I'm excited about it, and you know, the opportunity that these young men have, and I hope they cherish every one of them. If they just get their feet in the door, you take the Lance Turner, for example.
Yeah.
You know,
Shippy,
you know, got a chance to go to the Colts and come back. Now he's up in Saskatchewan with the Rough Riders, and you know, the Lance Turner, free agent, started on special teams, and now he done worked his way into the running back spot now. So you can go there, Charles. I mean, it's possible. But like I tell the young men today, you have to be special to wear that shield, Charles, to wear that NFL shield. You can't have no blemish on your record. You got to be straight and firm. That's a lot of the question that I get when NFL teams come back is, how is he as a kid? Is he going to graduate? Have he graduated? And things of that nature, you know. And I tell kids these days, Charles, I said, now, if NFL team come here today, what do y'all want me to tell them about yourself? You know, I got to be honest with them. You know, credibility is a lot of good stuff, you know. And I don't want to lose any friendship telling them this is a great kid, and then he get to the NFL, and all of a sudden, coach, they called me back and the coach, you gave us a bad kid, you know. Now, that NFL team is not coming back here. You know, so I have to tell these kids, but I have to tell the NFL scouts the truth. So if you have some blemish on your record before you got here, that's going to be on you. But since you've been here and what you've done in the classroom academic-wise and how you carry yourself around this campus without any issues, you know, I can speak up for that. The way you play, I can speak up for that. But before you got here, I don't know what's going on. So up until now, I can say that he's a great student, good character, come from a great family, and now he's here just trying to get an education, doing all the right things.
Speaking of doing all the right things, Felix Harper has done all the right things. Another recognition from the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Here's SWAC Media Relations Director Andrew Roberts. It's Andrew Roberts of the Southwestern Athletic Conference office, the Media Relations Director. How about that? You know, Felix Harper getting a helmet sticker from the College Football Game Day crew.
That's a great honor, Charles. And you know, the thing was about that, you know, I didn't really know it because that morning we get up, we got recruits on official visits. So we down at the hotel in Natchez that morning early. And normally Dr. Nave, she'll text me and say, congratulations, great win. But I get a phone call from her that morning, Charles. And I just, when I saw her name come up on the phone, I was like, hesitate to answer because now I'm trying to figure out what done happened. You know, what have the young man done did on campus. And she called and she was just, congratulations. She was just screaming. And I said, thank you. I said, it was a great win. She said, no, we made ESPN. I said, wow, that is a great honor, though, for him to be awarded a helmet sticker, Charles, in honor of him. And, just like I said, great stuff for the university, great publicity, things that goes on that happen. And it's all about what we do. It's a brand that we put out there, Charles, and we put a good brand out there to represent this university.
All right, so as we get ready for the bye week that's coming up, just talk a little bit about what you're going to be working on, what the schedule's like here for the next week.
Well, the biggest thing is, Charles, going back to the basic and getting these young men prepared for the week to come, the work week against Southern, and just fundamental stuff. And we practiced this morning just in helmets and did a lot of special team stuff this morning, individual drills and things of that nature. Tomorrow we'll go back out and have a regular Tuesday practice, do some stuff related to what Southern going to give us, offensive, defensive, special team wise, and Wednesday we'll have a normal Wednesday practice as well, as we was having a game on Saturday. So Thursday, hopefully I get the coaches out and get them on the recruiting trail and try to find some more football players for us this upcoming weekend. High school wise, we're going to hit Mississippi really hard for the upcoming couple of days, and the JUCOs. We'll be spreading around the JUCOs in the north, Mississippi, and the south. But Thursday we'll get some of the young guys out that don't get a lot of playing time, and offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, we'll strike it up with them and let them go live a little bit, Charles, and hopefully I get out and go see a JUCO game on Thursday.
Should be an interesting week to say the least, and of course the Braves and Southern University coming up next Saturday at 2 o'clock. Coach, we appreciate it. Congratulations, and we'll be getting ready for those Jaguars coming up. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Charles. Go Braves.
All right.